Okay? So for today, we will explore yung letter ni Rizal, no? Rizal's letter to the young women of Malolos, no? So letter to the young women of Malolos. Bakit ba nagsulat si Rizal, no? Bakit pa sinunatanan niya yung mga kababahian ng Malolos, no? Ano bang dahilan, no? So to begin with, so this is a certain known picture, no? Kung titignan yung picture na yan, may mga paring, of course there are women, no? Pero if you count the women, ilan ba sila? So they are 20, no? I'm not sure kung 20 nga tama yung counting ko, no? But originally kasi the women were requested about their education in Malolos Bulacan are 20 women. And in the middle, kung makikita yun, nasa gitnang yan, that's the Governor General at the time, si Governor General Valeriano Vader. And maybe one of these priors or priests are the one who opposed, no? So ganyan nila describe. So on December 12, 1888, yun nga, no, a group of 20 women of Malolos sent a petition letter to the Governor General Valeriano Weyler, no, at the time, no, asking permission to open a night school and to study Spanish under kay study Spanish to Teodoro Sandico, no. So siya yung magiging teacher nila, no. However, Freeze, Father Felipe Garcia, no, objected to their plan. So the Governor General turned down their petition. So hindi na nila pinayagan, no? Pero gusto ng kababayan ito na mag-aral sila ng Spanish because they want to learn the language, no? And as you can see, as early 1888, no, in our country, sa Pilipinas, so women are already empowered, no? Parang may sinasabi na rin sila, kaya na rin nila, no? Na they find themselves equal. Though in our previous discussion, yung ano, as commented by Chua na si Rizal somehow, no, in yung ano niya, may pagka misogynist siya, no? Okay? Na medyo hindi from the character in No Limit Tangere. But that time, of course, hindi naman ganun kaano yung mga women, ka-weak, no? Now, the Governor General Valeriano Weyler later on, no, from the petition, from their letter of petition letter, they granted the request, but in condition that Senorita Guadalupe Reyes, should be their teacher. So later on, napasang-ayon din nila si Governor General Valeriano Weyler na makapag-aral sila, no? Kaya lang hindi ang magtuturo ay hindi si Teodoro Sandico, but rather Señorita Guadalupe Reyes, no? Siguro may ganun talaga noon, no? Yung parang babae, babae, lalaki, lalaki, something like that. Okay? Now, to continue. So, bakit ba sumulat, no, si Rizal, no, as regard to these women? So, prior to that, let's try to know kung sino ba si Governor Valeriano Weyler. In 1888, no, he was assigned as the Governor General of the Philippines. No, he was sent out as a Captain General to the Philippines, no, in 1888. In 1895, no, he won the La Cruz Grande de Manila Cristina, or the Grand Crosses of Maria Cristina, for his command of troops in the Philippines, no. So mayroong mga yun ang mga achievement niya, no. He's remembered the Philippines for investigating, no, the Calamba and expelling the Rizal and other families from the land the Dominicans wanted out, no. So probably that was also the time na yun nga, no, kung natatanda yun in our previous discussion, Rizal went in Madrid, no, and probably for Side yung tinatawag yung misfortune in Madrid, wherein Rizal appealed to the regent of Spain kay Maria Cristina Arianeta and so on, no, na it took the position or assumed the position as regent of Spain kasi yung kanyang anak na king si Alfonso the 13 ay still young, no, kaya hindi siya makaagpo, no. And of course, si Weyler, he arrived in Manila, no, he lived as a poor and returned to Spain as a millionaire, no. Through bribery and gifts of the diamonds from the Chinese Filipino for favors and influences, no. So among the governor generals, no, ito yung or na-assign na governor general sa Pilipinas, naging naging ano siya, controversial siya sa what we call, yun nga, mga bribery of the Chinese, no? Siya yung kinikilalang ano na one of the corrupt, no? Isa sa mga corrupt officials. However, no, nung yun nga, no, it granted the petition of 20 young women of Malolos. Ito yung pinakamagandang achievement niya to Malolos Bulacan to have education and to have a night school. And later on, of course, later on, he died in Madrid on October 20, 1930. So, mahaba ng buhay niya, no? Kung titignan na, umabot siya ng 1930. Now, sino naman si Teodoro Sandico, no? So, in 1888, yung nga, si Teodoro Sandico, he was chosen as Spanish teacher of the 20 women of Malolos, but he was denied and replaced by Señorita Guadalupe Reyes. So, may pagkaan siguro dahil lalaki, babae, ganun siya, no? Now, to continue. So, why Rizal wrote to these women of Malolos? Bakit pa siya nagsulat? On February 17, 1899, so in Barcelona, Spain, no, Marcelo Hilario del Pilar wrote a letter to Jose Rizal requesting him to send a Tagalog letter to the 20 brave women of Malolos, Bulacan, no, para ma-inspired sila, no. And somehow popular na kasi si Rizal and very ano siya sa kanila sa ano, no. Kilala na siya. On February 22, 1899, while Rizal having its annotation, no, nag-research siya about the work of Morgan Successors de las Filipinas in Liverpool, London, Rizal somehow wrote a letter, no, to Marcelo H. del Pilar for transmittal to the 20 women of Malolos, no. So bali kaya nagsulat si Rizal sa mga kababaeng ito dahil request siya ni Marcelo H. del Pilar, no. So aware siya na pag somehow may letter na nanggaling kay Rizal, and then probably this is written in Tagalog, no. And then these women somehow lalo silang ma-inspire, no, as regard to what they are, their advocacy to learn the Spanish language. Okay? So to continue. Now, a certain trivia, no, as regard to the letter of young women of Malolos, no, so probably these young women of Malolos, no, yung pinagmulan nila, no, or somehow its origin of what we call the Asociación Feminista Filipina, no, na founded in June 1905. Siya yung pinagmulan nila, no. So nang-spark or nanggaling doon. So these are the mother group of women empowerment of our country. They are the feminist movement in the Philippines, no, wherein, of course, they were the one, no, fought against the voting rights and gender equality, no. And probably you are familiar with Maria Ilianes Escoda, no, is one of those women who fought against the right of the women as regard to what we call the right to vote. Kasi dati hindi rin nagboboto yung mga kababaihan, no. Ganun nagsimula, no, globally or all over the world. Dati yung mga kababaihan ay hindi nagboboto, no. And then it was one of the founder or what we call the one who fought as regard to the pride is si Maria Ilianes Escoda, yung sa Girl Scout of the Philippines, no, yung founder. So some of the trivia as regard to this letter, no, yun nga, no, so it somehow symbolizes love, purity, and peace to the women of Malolos, no. So these women of Malolos somehow, no, their participation until the time na nawala na si Rizal, they support the group KKK o yung kay Bonifacio, no, yung kataas-taasan kagalang-galangan ng mga katipunero, wherein they gather funds, foods, blanket, and medicines, no. So probably they are referring to the Katipuneros of Bulacan, no. And these are the 20 women listed, no. As you can see, magkakamag-anak sila, no. So we have the Reyes, the Tanchanco, the Tantoko, maybe parang mga Chinese yung iba, no. Chongson, yan, no. And of course, meron siya dito, si Alberta Yutangkoy, no. Siya lang yung parang walang kamag-anak, no. So these 20 women, no, parang magpipinsan, magkakapatid, and naisipan nila that they want, no, or magbabarkada, no. that they want to learn the Spanish. So if we will sum up, summary na kaagad, no? Of course, we will elaborate later, no? So the letter of Rizal or ang liham sa mga kadalagahan o kababayan sa Malolos Bulacan ni Rizal are somehow can be summed up on the following, no? So first, the rejection of spiritual authority of the friars, pinunayan ni Rizal na naman, no? The defense of private judgment, mhm. And then the qualities of Filipino mother need to possess, so yung mga binanggit niya, no? Duties and responsibility of Filipino mothers to their children, and then duties and responsibility of wife to her husband. And then counsel to young women on their choice of a lifetime partner. Later on, we will see some of those kung ano yung nilalaman ng letter niya. So probably one of the na pinunan ni Rizal, it's something to do with religion. Ito yung sinabi niya, no? Minsan nagtago sa simbahan ng isang napatalong hari nila sa takot sa galit sa bayan, pinagkaisang kulungin siya doon at patain ng gutom, no? So nang papaderan na ang pinto, ang ina ang unang nag-akot ng bato. So sorry for hindi na masyadong marunong magtagalog. Ang mga ugaling ito ay karaniwang sa kanila, kaya nga't iginalang ng buong Gresya ang babaeng Esparta. So here, no, parang kung makikita mo, napaka ni Rizal, no? Well-read siya talaga kasi he knows Greek mythology, no? Kaya nga, he always mentioned the Spartan women wherein she described her mother as is yung fortitude daw ng mother niya, si Lolay, it's comparable with the Spartan woman. Ayan, sinasabi din niya sa mga kababaihan ng Malolos, sabi niya, sa lahat ng babae, ang pula ng ay kayo lamang na taga-Esparta ang nakapangyayari sa lalaki. No? Mangyari pa ang sagot ng babae ay kami lamang ang nagkakaanak ng lalaki. Ang tao ng mga Esparta ay hindi inaanak para mabuhay sa sarili, kundi para sa kanyang bayan. No? Yun yung inaano niya. No? So probably later, may explain natin yan na that Rizal encourage these women, no? Abang naninitili ang ganitong mga isipan at ganitong mga babae ay walang kaaway na nakatungtong ng lupang Esparta at walang kababaing taga-Esparta na nakatanaw ng hukbong ng kaaway. So to serve as an inspiration for these women of Malolos, parang ginawa ang example ni Rizal, the Spartan women, no? So kung pinanood yung 300, have you watched that movie, no? So somehow makikita niyo how strong the character of the Spartan women. And as early as that, no, maybe that is as early something before Christ pa, no? So women in Sparta have equal rights with men, no? Kumbaga, maganda yung ano nila, no? Sa Sparta. Okay, to continue. Okay, somehow, ito yung continuation niya. Sabi niya, hindi ko inaasahang paniwalaan ako alang-alang lamang sa aking sabi, maraming taong hindi nakatingin sa katuwiran, no? Yung spelling ng katuwiran, ng W at tunay, no? Kundi sa habito sa puti ng buhok o kakulangan kaya ng ngipin. So referring to the priors. Ngunit kung ang tanday magalang sa pinagdaan ng hirap, ang pinagdaanan kong buhay hangin sa ikagagaling ng bayan ay mapagbibigay ng tanda sa akin kahit may kliman. Malayo ako sa pagpapasampalataya, pagdiyos-diyosan, paghalili, kaya sa Diyos paghangad na paniniwala, pakinggan ikit mata, duko ang gudo, at alukin may ngunit ang hiling ko'y mag-isip ng malalangay, sigin at salain kung sakali. So part of the content of the letter of the women of Malolos, yun nga, no, Rizal has mentioned, no? So parang when we talk about religion, so probably in our previous discussion, inano rin yan, diniin niya, no, sa El Filibusterismo, So somehow, no, you always observe their own practices as regard to religion. Yung nga, nabanggit niya dito, yung pagpapasampalataya, pagdiyos-diyosan, something like that, no? At yun nga, yung uh, pakinggan, pikit mata, yuko ang ulo, parang you just obey, no? Wherein you're not examining if it is right or it is correct, no? Okay, to continue. Now, these are some of the highlight, no? So sabi niya first, ang unang-una, ang ipinagiging taksil ng ilan ay nasa kaduwagan at kapabayaan ng iba. Okay? Ang pinagiging taksil ng ilan ay nasa kaduwagan at kapabayaan ng iba. Tama, no? So, it's something to do with others, no? Yung pagiging betraying someone, no? Or pagiging coward, no? Ang kalawa daw, ang inaalipusta ng isa ay nasa kulang ng pagmamahal sa sarili at nasa labis ng pagkasilaw sa umaalipusta. Okay, so this parang nahihirapan akong magbasa ng Tagalog. I do not know why, no? Before hindi naman ganyan, no? So I will repeat the number 2, no? Ang inaalipusta ng isa ay nasa kulang ng pagmamahal sa sarili at nasa labis ng pagkasilaw sa umaalipusta. So madali lang naman intindihin yun, no? Okay, ang ikatlo, ang kamangmangay kaalipinan, no? Sapagkat kung ano ang isip ay ganoon ng tao, no? Taong walang sariling isip ay taong walang pagkatao. Ganda ng Pinoy ni Rizal doon, no? Taong walang sariling isip ay taong walang pagkatao. So, he wanted us to have a liberal mind, no? Or something that hindi tayo sunod-sunuran, no? Sa ang sinasabi niyan. Ang bulag na tagasunod sa isip ng iba, no, ay parang hayop na sunod-sunod sa tali. Kinumpir pa niya na parang isang aso or ano na sunod-sunuran lang, no? And then, ang ikaapat, sabi niya, ang ibig magtago ng sarili ay tumulong sa ibang magtago ng kanila, no? Sapagkat kung pabayaan mo ang iyong kapwa, ay pababayaan ka rin naman. Ang isa-isang tingting ay madaling baliin, ngunit at mahirap baliin ang isang bigkis ng walis. No, parang familiar tayo dito sa ikaapat, no, yung parang the more the better, no, or the stronger, something like that. So yung pagkakaisa, no, wherein he associated with what we call with the broomstick, no. And yung fifth, ang ikalima, kung ang babaeng Tagalog ay di magbabago, ay hindi dapat magpalaki ng anak, kundi gawing pasibulan lamang. No? Dapat alisin sa kanya ang kapangyarihan sa bahay, sapagkat kung dili ipagkakanulong walang malay, asawa, anak, bayan at lahat. So probably yung pagiging essence, no? So the essence of a woman, no? Of course, the essence of a woman is to give birth, or to give child, no? Pero sa kanya, kung di gawing pasibulan lamang, no? So dapat daw kung ang babaeng Tagalog ay di mapagbabago ay hindi dapat magpalaki ng anak. So that means kung di mababago, no? Or something it's talking about na hindi lang pagpapaanak, no? Kailangan there is participation like the Spartan woman that we mentioned in our discussion, no? Sabi niya sa ika-6, ang tao'y inaanak na paris-paris, hubad at walang tali. So, freedom, no? Di nila lang ng Diyos upang maalipin, of course, something to do with slavery. Bibinigyan ng isip para pabulag at di iniyasan ng katwiran at ng maulol ng iba. Okay, parang napaka-advanced ni Rizal, no? Hindi kapalaluan ang di pagsamba sa kapwa-tao, ang pagpapaliwanag ng isip at paggamit ng matuwid sa anumang bagay, ang palalo ay ang pagsasamba o napasasamba ang bumubulag sa iba. Ang ibig pa iigin ang kanyang ibig sa matuwid at katampatan. No, napakahirap pa lang magbasa ng Tagalog, no. Ngayon ko lang na-discover. So lately kasi I didn't read Tagalog, and even the movies I didn't like to watch movies na Tagalog, no. Okay, may pagka-bias ako doon. Now, so here, just Rizal mentioned, no, parang minomotivate niya yung kababahingan ng Malolos. Sabi niya, yun nga, no, Ang tao'y inianak na paris-paris, bad at walang tali. So pagiging malaya. Binili nila ng Diyos upang maalipin. So something to free us from slavery, no? At hindi ka alipin. Bibinigyan ng isip para pabulag. At di inayasan ng katwiran at ng maulol ng iba, no? So to be used by others. So somehow yung nga no, parang it's a women empowerment na sinasabi ni Rizal sa mga kababaihan, no? So parang kung sasabihin natin, hindi nagkamali si Marcelo H. Del Pilar that he asked Rizal to write a letter to these 20 young women of Malolos, no? To continue, ito yung pang-pito, no? Ang ikapito, linin yung magaling kung ano ang reliyong itinuturo sa atin. So parang we have to observe kung ano ba yung tamang reliyon, no? O kung totoo ba to. Tingnan ninyong mabuti kung iyan ang utos ng Diyos o ang pangaral ni Kristong panglunas sa hirap ng mahirap. Pangaliw sa dusa ng nagdudusa. Napakalalim ng Tagalog niya, no? Alalahanin ninyo ang lahat ng sa inyong itinuturo, ang pinapatunguhan ng lahat ng sermon, ang nasa ilalim ng lahat ng misa, nobina, kwintas, yan, no? So these are the things that na pinupunan ni Rizal, no? Yung misa, nobina, kwintas, kalmen, larawan, milagro, kandila, korea, at iba pang, yung hinigit, inihihiyaw at isinusuot araw-araw sa iyong loob. Dahinga at mata, at hanapin ninyo ang puno at dulo at saka iparis ninyo ang reliyon, yung reliyon dito, religion, no? Sa malinis na religion ni Kristo. So it was something to do na about religion, no? Kasi nga, if you remember in our discussion, No Limit Tangere, one of the drawing or symbols, yung a man wearing a cassock, no? Pero paa lang yung nakalitaw, no? And then yung nga, there are certain priests or there are certain friars or priests who use religion in their bad deeds, no? Yung mali. Like in the person of Padre Damaso na pinakita, si Padre Salve, si Padre Sibayla, no? Okay? Yun nga, no? At tingnan kung hindi ang iyong pagkakristyano ay paris na inaalagang gatas ng hayop o paris na pinatatabang baboy kaya, na di pinatataba alang-alang sa pagmamahal sa Kanya, kundi may pagbili ng lanong mahal at ng lanong masalapian. Okay? So, these are referring to the priest that time that you observe, no? Yung mga palalo, no? Yung mga parang they abuse, no? And probably even Marcelo H. Del Pilar, no? Have wrote something about this, yung si Padre Botad, no? Yun, describe niya yung samparing na mataba na ganito, ganyan, no? Okay, continue. So, ito nga, no, sabi niya, para mag-reflect, magbulay-bulay tayo, malasin ang ating kalagayan at tayo mag-isip-isip. Kung itong ilang buhaghag sa sabing makatutulong sa ibibigay sa inyong bait upang di maituloy ang nasimulan ninyong pagkalad, no? Napakalalim na Tagalog. Tubo ko'y dakila sa puunang pagod at mamatamisin ang anumang mangyari ugaling upang sa sino mang mangahas sa ating bayan magsabi ng tunay. Matupad nawa iyong nasa, matuto at hari nangang sa halaman ng karunungan ay huwag makapintas ng buhangin bugbubot, kundi ang kikitili piliin. Pag-isipan muna na sa pinbago lunukin sa pagkasalab sa balat ng lupa lahat ay haluan at dibihirang magtanim ang kaaway ng damong pansira kasama sa binhi sa gitna ng ilang. So the last statement niya, no, parang pinapakita niya how we have been deceived by the Spaniard, no, particularly the friars, no, during the sermon or the homily, no. Of course, ito'y sinulat ni Rizal sa Europa, no, probably that is in London, no, in 1889, no. So as you can see, no, Rizal, no, tama ba na is a polyglot, no, wherein he can speak different languages. Not only speak, but he can write, no, napakagaling niya. He knows Spanish, Latin, French, German, and even in Tagalog, napaka-ano niya, well-versed, no. So very good siya talaga as regard to language, no. Linguist siya talaga. Okay, to continue. Now, So these are some of the messages of Rizal to the young Filipino women. No, Sir Rizal was greatly impressed by the fighting spirit that the young women of Malolos had shown. No, the impression na yun nga, they are fighting for their rights to learn the Spanish language. His ultimate desire was for women to be offered the same opportunities as those received by men in terms of education. No? Rizal emphasizes on freedom of thought and the right to education, which must be granted to both boys and girls alike. No? And I'm just wondering, no, in that time, no, not everybody in the time of Rizal in the 19th century Philippines can attend education. Will have a parent or However, yung mga kapatid ni Rizal, most of them nakapag-aral, no? And maybe that time, dahil nga wala pang private, puro private yung mga eskwelahan, siguro yung mga may kaya lang, sila lang talagang nakakapag-aral, no? That's why these women of Malolos, they demand for particularly during this. So these are some of the empathies. Sabi ni, like the qualities of mothers have to possess. Sabi ni Rizal enumerate the qualities of Filipino mothers have to possess. No, yun, be a noble wife, rear her children in the service of the state. Here Rizal gives reference to the women of Sparta, yung binasa ko kanina, no, one body's quality, no, set the standard of behavior of men around her. Now, so how it is related in our societies today, no? Yan, no? Yung activism of feminism group in our country, and then there are often times that mother forget their roles. There somehow, no, ito naman yung uh, somehow yung change of role, no? The child rearing dilemma. Minsan kasi si mother siya nag-work abroad, and then the father siya nagiging yung house husband, no? Yun nga. There are often times that mother forget their roles, children because of the overriding idea of having earned enough money to help their father sustain the family needs. So, usually ganyan yung nangyayari ngayon, no? Both parties, no, the husband and wife, they work together, and sometimes yung iba, they sacrifice, no? They sacrifice yung ano, nagsasacrifice yung kanilang sa what we call sa anak nila, no? Okay? So to continue, now, so for the unmarried men and women, ito yung sinabi ni Rizal, no? Sir Rizal point out to unmarried women that they should not be easily taken by appearances and looks because this can be very deceiving. Instead, they should take heed of men's firmness of character and lofty ideas. Rizal further adds that there are three things that a young woman must look for a man she intends to be her husband. No? Nagbigay pa siya ng no, parang criteria. No? Yung nga sabi ni Rizal, yung lalaki, a noble and honored name, a manly heart, a high spirit, incapable of being satisfied with endangering slave. No? Tama namang mga Pinoy ni Rizal. No? Kumbaga, yung ganito dapat na kumbaga hindi parang yung natin hindi madaling makuha parang something like that, no? At wag magpadala sa appearance and looks. So these are the five salient point, no, na sabi niya, una, Filipino mothers should teach their children love of God, country, and fellow men. So ito yung pinuit niya, no, love of God, country, and fellow men, no. Ang sabi niya, Filipino mothers of blood and effort, like a Spartan mother to offer the son, yun nga, no? Yung very siya sa mga very yung ni Rizal as regard to the Spartan women, no? Filipino women should know how to communicate. So, parang hanggang ngayon, up to date pa yan, no? Na yung sabi niya, Filipino women should educate themselves aside from retaining their good racial values. And sabi niya, it's not merely reciting prayers and wearing religious pictures. Kasi, in the 19th century Philippines, halos kababahihan talaga, no? Sabi niya, it's living the real Christian way with good morals and manners. Parang naalala mo yung kanta na yung kay ano, no, yung banal na aso, sentong kabayo, something like that, no? So, sabi nga, whatever the mother show to her children is what the children will also become. No? Sa Kapampangan, meron tayong version nito. Ing luksuning ginong kambing, ing bisero antimurin. Similar to this one, no? Whatever the mother show to her children is what the children will also become. Course. Of course, hindi naman lahat, no? Minsan hindi naman ini-emulate ng anak ng kanyang ina, no? Minsan yung anak may sarili siyang pag-iisip. Alam din niya kung ano yung tama, ano niya kung ano yung mali. Kaya kaya nga parang yung kasabihan natin, inuksunugin ng kambing, yung bisero ang timurin. So probably in we can say in logic, it is something that is non sequitur, no? It not always follows, no? Or sometimes it does not follows. Okay, continue. Now I quoted, no, or rather, I get some of the known women, no, wherein they talk about the women empowerment or something they are worth to be emulate or they are worth to recognize because of their what we call of their greatness. And one of them is what we call Mother Teresa of Calcutta, no? Sabi niya one time, no, the world is full of good people. Tama siya doon, no? If you cannot find one, be one, no? Tama, no? So, napakasimple, no? Sabi niya, ang mundo daw ay 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 kinabibilangan or marami ka daw makikita ng mabubuting tao sa mundo. Pero kung hindi ka daw makapag-anak kahit isa, gawin mo, ikaw na lang, no? So I hope you are familiar with Mother Teresa, no? Napaka ano niya in India, no? In Calcutta. And then of course, of course, namatay na rin si Mother Teresa and I think later on magiging saint. Ay, saint na ba siya? I think, no? And then we have Corazon Aquino, the late President Corazon Cuanco Aquino, no? Sabi niya, siguro this is the time wherein she's suffering from her cancer. Sabi niya, I would rather die a meaningful death than to live a meaningless life. Napaka-noble, no? And napakaganda ng sinabi niya, no? And then, of course, I think you are very familiar kay Miriam Defensor Santiago. Sabi niya, I always put myself in harm's way because that is where I am most effective. No? Parang sabi niya, sinasubject niya palagi yung sarili niya sa kapahamakan. Kasi doon daw sa lumilit, parang nagiging effective. And then meron pa din sinabi, sabi niya, so probably she died also with cancer, no? And she suffered also with cancer, no? Sabi niya, the cancer, no, but not literally the cancer that demands our urgent attention is corruption and poverty. Parang Rizal lang yan, no? The cancer that demands our urgent attention, it's corruption and poverty. These are references. Okay. So any concern or questions?
No questions, sir.
Any concern? Question?